Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3MVTA. I am your host, Big Jake. I got another one out here for you. And today, we're going to go look, as I said last time, on the dark side of humanity. Today, we're looking at 10 serial killers with the highest body counts. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy. And let's get on with this video. First of all, what is a serial killer? Well, most people have an idea of what it is. They can point to a particular person, such as like Ted Bundy or Joel Rifkin or somebody like that. But Joel Rifkin, given the new definition that we have nowadays, isn't exactly a serial killer. A serial killer is a person who kills 3 or more people in a period of time of over a month, with a cooling down time in between murders, and each murder must be a separate event. So each killing will be a separate action from a previous killing. So people like Joel Rifkin wouldn't be considered serial killers because he murdered his whole family in a single night. So, but when you think of actual serial killers that meet this definition, like I said, we think of people like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Edmund Kemper, those kinds of people. So, but none of those people are on our list. None of these people are any of the famous ones that we hear about in the headlines or anything like that, but they still manage to rack up an enormous body count. So let's go ahead and get on with our video, starting at number 10. Number 10, Samuel Little, United States. This is the newest case on this list. Samuel Little is an African-American man who has a confirmed body count of 60 over a period of like 35 years. The fact that he was able to get away with it so long is absolutely amazing. Most serial killers get caught after just a couple years, or there's a few in history, if you look back, that spent several time killing, but this guy got away with it for 35 years and was never caught because he killed people like prostitutes. He killed runaways, people at truck stops, mostly killed African-American women. His nickname was the choke and stroke killer. He mostly killed by strangulation. And he never really served too much time in jail. He was caught in 2005. But he is, to be honest, I don't even know if his trial actually got concluded before he died. He died at the age of 80 in an LA County hospital. Like I said, confirmed body count of 60, but if you believe everything he says, which most of the time you can't with these people, he has a body count of 93. So, and that's why he's number 10, because we're going to go by confirmed body counts, not how many they possibly could have done. So, number 9. Number 9, Yang Zenhai, serial killer from China, nicknamed the Monster Killer, with a confirmed body count of 67. He killed in a variety of ways, but usually strangulation. He also crossed sex lines. He didn't just kill like women, and he didn't seem to have a particular type from what I looked up. He killed women, children, men, adults, So, so even with that short time of being active from 99 to 2003, he still managed to kill 67 people confirmed. He was eventually caught though and was executed by firing squad in China. Died in 2004. Number 8. Number 8. Sorry, I have a horrible time pronouncing this guy's name. Campetamar Shankaria of India. A confirmed body count of 70, but possibly killed as many as 100 people. It says years active was a year. Now I couldn't find anything else on that if he was only active for a single year, but that's what they have on him. So we'll say that that's a tentative years active. I mean, 70 people in 1 year is a lot of killing. Like, let's be honest. And actually, his nickname was one who hits below the ear, and he got that because he would kill his victims by striking them in the neck right below the ears with a hammer. And he died in prison. He was executed by hanging in 1979. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7, Pedro Rodriguez Filho, nicknamed Pedroino Matador, Little Pedro Killer. Confirmed body count of 71, as many as 100 victims. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this guy was the inspiration for the show Dexter, because he, from what I can gather, he basically exclusively killed other criminals. Whether it be gang members that were in his way or that were hassling him or what have you. Yeah, he mostly killed criminals, and of his 71 victims, he killed 47 of them in prison in Brazil, and he is actually out. He is currently released because a lot of other countries don't have the same kind of sentences we have, so he's actually released right now out in the public. So you never know. He may rack up more on that body count. I mean, he's a lot older now, so maybe not, but who knows. Number 6. Daniel Carmego Barbosa from Colombia, Ecuador, and Brazil, nicknamed the Sadist of El Charquito, or El Chaquito, something like that. Once again, forgive my pronunciations. Confirmed body count of 72, as many as possibly 180 victims. What he would do is he would lure his victims away, and he liked to either strangle or stab them, and then he would leave the bodies in the nearby forest where he was at. He died in prison, and he was actually killed by a fellow inmate for a revenge murder, so ending his reign of terror in prison, ironically enough, being murdered. That's pretty ironic for a person who killed 72 people. Number 5. Number 5, Mikhail Popkov, nicknamed the Werewolf and the Angarsk Maniac. Confirmed body count of 78, possibly as many as 83. He was active until 2010. His big thing was he would use a lot of time, more often than not, he would use the ruse of being disguised as a police officer and lure women who were alone away from the streets or where have you. And then once they were out of the public view, that's when he would murder them. And apparently he was known for particularly brutal and extreme mutilation. And that's why he got the nickname the Werewolf, because of how horribly mutilated the victims were after he got done with them. And he is still alive. He is in prison right now, currently in Russia, but he's still alive. So, I mean, Russia's pretty harsh on punishment, so he probably won't get out, but you never know, right? Number 4. Number 4, Javed Iqbal from Pakistan. Once again, supposedly only active for a year, with a confirmed body count of 100 victims. Now, this is the top 4 here is where we get into the really big numbers. Like I said, confirmed body count of 100 victims. He would lure his victims, or however they would come to his house. He would rape, strangle, and dismember his victims, and then afterwards he would dissolve them in acid. And when he was caught, I remember reading the article saying that they actually found the acid vats on his property that had several different people's body parts in the bottom of them, like bones and such, because I don't think all acids can dissolve bones, but either way, they did find remnants of his victims in the barrels on his property. So And he killed himself in prison, didn't even wait for any kind of execution or finishing the trial. But yeah, so you're talking about a body count of 100 people in a year. That's If that's true that it was only a year that he did this, that's absolutely insane. The idea of being able to kill 100 people in a single year. And don't get me wrong, there's 365 days in a year, but I mean, that's insane. And we'll move on to number 3. Number 3, Pedro Lopez from Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador, nicknamed the Monster of the Andes. Confirmed body count of 110, possibly as many as 300 victims. Now, if that's true, that if they can confirm that he actually killed 300 people, which at this point that's not going to happen because they've stopped looking into his murders, I'm pretty sure by now. But that would make him the highest. That would make him literally the world's most prolific serial killer of all time, having that by far the highest body count. So, but 110 people. Years he was active as far as we know until 2002. And this is a guy who had a pretty rough life. He was homeless as a kid, had to defend himself against other homeless people and pedophiles. And I know he was molested when he was a child. Wrestled with starvation and all that stuff. And then at some point he got sent to prison where he was gang raped. And then after his gang rape, that's when he snapped and literally started killing people. I know he did eventually kill all the people that gang raped him. And then after he got out of prison, he started, for the most part, killing children. He started murdering children. And he is currently at large. They don't know where he is. He escaped after he got released, I believe, on a technicality, or I know, never mind. I remember what it was. He got released from a mental hospital, and then he fled, and they don't know where he is. So he's currently at large, although he's pretty old. So my guess is he's probably not going to be killing anybody anytime soon. But with someone like this, who obviously was just borderline just a killing machine, you never know. And number 2, Delise Garcia from Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela, known as the Beast and the Monster of Genova. Confirmed, mind you, this is confirmed body count of 193. Possibly as many as 221 victims. He was only convicted of 147 murders. But this might possibly be the most, and I hate to use the term evil because I wouldn't say evil's an objective measure or an objective word to say, but this might be the most evil person on this list. He killed 193 people, pretty much all children, mostly boys, and he would do it by prolonging their torture and the rape of his victims over hours and hours. I remember reading something that said that they said that he actually could not climax during the rape unless he was literally stabbing or punching or torturing his victim while he was having intercourse with them. So this man is unbelievably disturbed, unbelievably evil. Hopefully, we don't see too many more people like him in this world, because the world doesn't need monsters like this. I mean, he really is a monster of a person. He is still alive, but he is in prison. So, just goes to show you that the dark side of humanity really doesn't have a boundary. I mean, 193 people over a period of 7 years. That's, that's quite a feat. You know what I mean? So, what can you say about that? Other than let's hope that he just rots in prison for the rest of his life. That's all you can really say. Now, number 1 might actually really surprise you guys. Serial killer with the highest confirmed body count. And he wasn't necessarily, obviously he's not a good man, but he wasn't necessarily an evil man. He didn't torture, he didn't rape or any of that. So, and who is he? Where is he from? Well, number one is Dr. Harold Shipman from the United Kingdom. In looking at him, I mean, you would never think that this man killed 218 people. Confirmed body count of 218 people. Possibly as many as 250, and maybe many more than that. Recently, I saw another documentary where they had mentioned Harold, and they said it may be as many, like the other gentleman, Pedro Lopez, it may be as many as 300 or more people that over a long career of being a doctor, nicknamed Dr. Death and the Angel of Death, and also nicknamed the Good Doctor. He was only convicted of 15 murders, but like I said, they confirmed 218 for sure. And like I said, there may be many more. He, after he was caught, he refused to give any kind of statement, refused to acknowledge what he had done. But eventually he did kill himself by hanging. Ironically enough, the day before his birthday in 2004. And yeah, I mean, this guy, he killed mostly older folks with a form of morphine. He would overdose them. And this happened, and he did this because when he was a child, he saw his mother suffering from cancer. And Harold had to be the one to help take care of her. And he would help her with her injections, and before that, he would see the injections and see that it would ease her pain, and he wanted to do that. And there's a lot of speculation that he killed his mother with an injection. I don't know if they ever actually proved it, but to end her suffering basically as a mercy killing. And it kind of started out that way, that he killed mostly people who were at the end of their lives, and who didn't have families, who didn't have people to look after them. And some of it was also motivated by greed. He also would change their wills and take their money and that kind of thing. But ironically enough, he was a big name doctor who everybody loved, everybody respected in the towns that he would practice in. And then lo and behold, you find out that he's quite literally the worst serial killer of all time, murdering 218 people. And it just goes to show you that just because someone looks like somebody's nice old grandpa, some nice, kindly older man who you can trust. I mean, look at him in this picture here. He does not look like the face of somebody who killed 250 people. Or, I'm sorry, 218 people. And it just goes to show you that the mold that the public thinks of as a serial killer doesn't always fit. It's not some monstrous, weird-looking or crazy-looking individual that's out there murdering people. It could be someone like this who looks like your grandfather, who looks kindly and trustworthy. And ultimately, that's why he was able to kill so many people, because he was so kindly and trustworthy looking. And then he would use his bedside manner as a doctor to lure his patients into a false sense of security, and then ultimately murder them and or take their stuff at the same time. So, like I said, it just goes to show you that evil can lie within anybody, anywhere, at any time. But that's the end of this one, guys. I thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. This may be a dark subject matter, but we, as the public, need to remember that these people are out there, and odds are there's a lot of us out there who have met someone who is like this, who is evil, who is killing numerous people. At least some of us have. But I hope you please like and subscribe. Tell me what you think of my list. Leave a comment down below. And then next time on this channel, I'm going to do my top 10 one-drop Magic the Gathering creatures. So, I'll see you guys. Same nerd time, same nerd channel. Have a good evening.